Hello world and welcome to Web Dev Frontiers. My name is Tomasz and I'm here to share my experiences with you in web tech. And in today's video, I thought I would make a review of a website. Now, I am a big fan of watches and I'm a watch enthusiast, so I end up on watch websites more often than I like to admit. And I thought it would be a very nice thing to actually review some of the watchmakers website and share whether they are performing well or do just a general user interface review with you. So this is what we're going to be doing in this video. And the first watch company that we're going to take a look at is going to be IWC. So IWC, also known as the International Watch Company, is a Swiss watch company that has been established in 1868 by an American watchmaker called Florentine Arioso Jones, and they are based in Schaffhausen in Switzerland. Now, they have a couple of popular models, some pilot watches like the Big Pilot, the Portuguese collection, as well as the Portofino collection. So we're going to take a look at some of these pages, some of these watches, and see what the website looks like. And then we're going to analyze some bits and pieces of it. So let's dive straight in. So as you can see, I already have my Chrome browser open, and notice that I'm using incognito mode. And I use this incognito mode because I want to make sure that every single request that the browser makes is going to be a new one, so there's nothing being served from the cache in Chrome. So IWC's website is iwc.com, so let's just go and visit this page. Now, the very first thing that I see here is that they are asking for my location. However, behind this pop-up, there's a drop down that said Singapore and SGD. So just by looking at my IP address, I reckon they are able to locate me, which is very nice. But still, I'm going to press allow here. Okay, so the site looks very neat. We get a menu, watches, accessories. It's a fairly standard menu for a watchmaker. Nice hero image with a watch here. These are the collections that I mentioned to you earlier. And they have a couple of additional things, videos. All right, awesome. Okay, this looks, very nice, very clean, easy to navigate. So let's go into watches and let's click view watches and see what we get there. Okay, so let's pick, let's pick this one, which is a green one, and let's see what we can do with this. Okay, they're loading something here. I suspect this would be a 3D view of the watch. Okay, that's very nice. I'm definitely going to give them a +1 for this. And I didn't mention that, and I think it's about time that I say it right now. I'm going to be giving points to the website. So I'm going to give a point if I see something like this, like a 3D view of a watch. So this is going to be a +1 point, +1 for recognizing my location. And if we encounter anything that's maybe hindering the user interface or the user experience, something that doesn't perform well, that's going to be a -1 point. And then we'll see how the various websites that I review are going to rank one against the other. So we have a couple of images of watches, which is really nice. So I can, see the back of the watch, the side of the watch, the bracelet. I can find information about the movement, the watch's features, and there's some additional, I think, just general information about the services. Okay, so that's quite nice. However, I can't really add this to my cart. I just have an inquire now button. Let's see what happens. So I can call them, send them an email, and they are listing everything relevant to Singapore. Okay, so that's a good addition. Actually, this is a pop-up. Okay, that's interesting. So I need to close that. I nearly missed that. So let's go back to watches and let's look at maybe another watch. Actually, let's use this filter because now I can filter watches that are available online. And let's try to purchase this blue one, for example. All right, there we go. So we can go ahead and add to bag. One item was added to the bag. And if I go here, I can now proceed to checkout. Okay, so this is a fairly straightforward e-commerce checkout flow, which is, I guess, expected if you would like to purchase a watch. So this is quite all right. The one thing that I'm very curious about, so if I go view all watches and I check this available online, let's see what happens if I click on this one. Interesting. So even though I filtered for watches that are available online, I still get the inquire now button. So I'm not entirely sure why that would be. But this is also a nice start, so I can get to see the variations of the watches. So that's very nice. We get a size guide. Okay, this is a standalone PDF. Not sure why that's a standalone PDF, but that's all right. And okay, so let's say that we would like to now go into a store. So I would have to click Inquire Now and find a nearest boutique, which opens up a subdomain, stores.iwc.com. And it lost track of where I am because it offers me Asia, Singapore, and then Singapore, okay. And then now it lists the boutiques. And then, okay, what happens if I click view page here? Okay, so it tells me where this boutique is and I can make an appointment. I just feel that this particular page, okay, hang on, requests, okay. So I'm not entirely sure why if I click on stores, I'm taken to a different subdomain and it loses my location information. But then when I want to request an appointment, it kind of takes me back to the main site and then does a filtering for the boutiques again, even though I already selected the one in Marina Bay Sands and I would like to make an appointment here. But then now they ask me again which store or which boutique I would like to make the appointment for. Okay, but now I click the location, but I never filled out. Oh, I don't need to fill out the details. Okay, so do it like this way, the products, watches. Okay, so that's very interesting. So it basically lost track of everything. It also doesn't remember the watch that I was looking at when I wanted to inquire about the watch. Okay, so this is a bit odd. But let's see what other things we can do here. Let's say just we click explore the collections. Let's click on collections and let's take a look at this one here. Just one more thing. Let's see, maybe we're going to look at this watch with a brown strap. All right, so this also loads a 3D view. I really like the 3D view because I think, you know, should you be in a situation where you can't really visit the boutique, I think this is a very nice touch. We can also zoom in so you can get a very nice view of the watch. Of course, you know, if you ever purchase a watch, especially if it's in this price range, my recommendation would always be to actually visit the store. All right, so now comes the interesting bit. We are going to open DevTools and just refresh this page and see what we get here. Oh my God, okay. That's definitely not what I expected. There are a lot of messages about a depreciation in jQuery PubSub. So IWC, maybe you want to look into this. We get a couple of 404s, or actually one 404. We get a front.js connected to inside, so there's some debug messaging as well from frontend framework.js. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe they left something in here. Maybe this is definitely debug information, right? You never want to have printed statements appearing in the console on a production website. That's period, right? There's no other way of saying this. We're not going to. Oh my God, that's a very large JavaScript file here. What does it say? ASP.NET Signal JavaScript. I don't know what this does, but regardless of what it does, it shouldn't be printing stuff out to the console. Okay, so let's go to the watches page and let's click view of watches. Okay, so I suspect, yeah, we get the same jQuery warning messages. There's also an issue with the Google Maps JavaScript API callback. I wonder why they are loading that here, because I don't see any map information. So maybe there's something in here that would load that. Again, not sure what's going on there, but what I'm really curious about, and that's what we're going to check out next, if I open up the watch page again and we go to, oh wow. Okay, so there's some more errors in here. Uncode type error, cannot report this undefined product name. So this is GTM, that would be Google Tag Manager. So there's an issue around that as well. And oh my God, look at this. Game scripts, cube map loaded. Okay, so this is, I reckon this is related to the 3D view, because that's where you would see cube map and GLB. So GLB is probably a 3D file. The textures is definitely a 3D file. So again, update distance 2.5. So I think what they do, they just left the default debug messages from game scripts, and I assume game scripts is the one that would load the actual 3D version of the watch here, essentially on the page. Again, very, very unprofessional, unfortunately, for IWC. But more importantly, as I was saying, let's just clear all the network requests, hit refresh. What I'm curious about is whether they apply any optimization on their images, for example, and actually they do. So they load AVIFs. They're all very, very small in sizes, so that at least that's good news. So let's look at maybe this one image here. Okay, so the rendered size, okay, that's interesting. So rendered size is 362 pixels, but the intrinsic size is 1080 pixels. What that means is that they are rendering a 362 pixel image. I'm sorry, they are rendering a 1080 pixel image into a 360 pixel space, which is definitely not ideal. Let's actually try to just see this image, right? So this is the image, which is 1000 pixels that they are loading into this space. Again, I'm not a fan of that, but maybe they are doing that because this seems to be a picture element. So this is doing media queries. Okay, so for different viewport sizes, they are loading different versions of the image. Okay, so maybe for a very large screen, they are loading a much larger version of the image, and for smaller screens, they are loading smaller versions of the images. Okay, but at least the images are optimized, right? They are AVIFs, which is a good sign. Now, the other thing that I would like to test is how does this page work on a mobile device? But I reckon that's going to work fine. Yep, let's actually click shop now on here. Okay, and yeah, we can view the watches. Again, I don't see any issues here. Awesome. Now, the other thing that I would like to test is going back to, okay, so we are on this page. Let's make this a little bit larger, like so. Let's clear all the requests and let's start scrolling down. Okay, beautiful. So what I was testing now is whether they do lazy loading of the images, right? On the bottom of the page, there are some images, but they're not loading it at the first page load because these images are not visible in the viewport, which is good. And they only load them once you keep on scrolling and they get closer to being displayed in the viewport. So this is called lazy loading, and they're lazy loading the optimized images, right? So again, you see WebPs and AVIFs, which is really, really cool. All right, so the last thing we'll do together is go to page speed insights. If I could spell that properly, never mind. And we're going to go to iwc.com and we're going to press analyze. Unable to resolve. Okay, why is that? Okay. So apparently if you go to https iwc.com, you get this certification error. The server could not prove that it is iwc.com because its security certificate is from mobile.iwc.com. Okay, so apparently they are not doing a redirect. So what is mobile.iwc.com? Apparently there's nothing. That's actually a little bit weird, but what if I now go to www.iwc.com? That works. Okay, again, that's something that they should try to fix. So let's go www.iwc.com and let's press analyze. So I use PageSpeed Insights to essentially determine whether they pass the Core Web Vitals assessment. So the Core Web Vitals are the largest content of paint, the cumulative layout shift, first input delay now, and as of April or spring 2024, it's going to be the interaction to next paint metric. And I'm very sad to see that on mobile, at least, they're failing the Core Web Vitals assessments. Now, I plan on recording a couple of videos about web performance in general, but what you need to know about this particular section here, what you're seeing on the screen now, is that the data that you see here is from the last 28 days, and it's from real users. This is what Google refers to as RUM data, real user metrics. So this is how real users in the past 28 days have experienced the performance of the site on mobile. And I think the reason why they failed the assessment on mobile is because the interaction to next paint metric is really bad, and time to first byte, well, that's actually okay, but cumulative layout shift is in the red, which is really, really bad. And then the performance issues, yeah, there's lots of things that are not looking good on mobile. So let's see on desktop. Okay, so on desktop, things are slightly better. So they are passing the assessment, and the performance results are again not great. They're all in the orange, so that could be slightly better. And essentially, this is bad news potentially for IWC, because failing the Core Web Vitals assessment could lead to a degradation in their search page ranking, right? Because now Google takes the results from Core Web Vitals into consideration when they build the search page ranking. Okay, so that's definitely something that IWC should be fixing. All right, so that's it. This is my review of IWC.com. So if I were to summarize and give a final rating for this website, I'm going to give +1 point for the overall design and aesthetics. For the initial page loads, I'm going to give a +1 as well, because even on a very slow network, we were able to see the images and navigate the site, which is, again, a very good thing. I am also going to give them a +1 for general web performance, because they have optimized images, they load AVIF, so again, that's a very good thing. For Core Web Vitals, I'm not going to take away a point nor give a point, so that's going to be set to 0, because they passed the assessment on desktop, but they do not pass the assessment on mobile. For geolocation settings, I like that they found my location, but then I didn't like what they did with the store selection. For the overall user and shopping experience, I'm on the edge. I'm going to stick with 0 points on this one, because I like the browsing experience. However, the availability filter doesn't really do what I think it did. If you remember, I clicked available online only in the filter, and what I got were watches where I could send an inquiry, which then took me to a page, and then it just got very confusing. So I'm not going to give a point to that. But then when I could add the watch to the cart, I think that was a good experience. So that's why 0 points. I'm going to give an extra point for them, because I really like the 3D view of the watches and the watch models. They are really, really cool, and it's a very good addition. And I'm going to also take away 1 point because of the redirect issues. So HTTPS IWC.com does not redirect to the website, and it uses a certificate from mobile.iwc.com, which then if I put in a browser, nothing happens. So that's, again, a little bit confusing. So all in all, that gives IWC a total of 3 points. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like. If you would like me to review a website, please add those to the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.